If you're wondering, how did the most underbiased, least popular, and seemingly underwhelming member of Blackpink become the first ever K-pop artist to ever win Song of the Year at the VMAs? Well, if that's what you're wondering, then I'm gonna be breaking it down for you in this video today. As someone who's really into transformation and productivity and just achieving my best self, there's this pattern that I keep seeing in women who rise above all the noise. They're not the loudest in the room, they're not constantly promoting themselves, and they definitely aren't following the typical hustle culture playbook that we've all been sold. And Rosé? She's the epitome of what I would call quiet confidence. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why her approach is revolutionary and made her win at the VMAs almost inevitable. But first, we need to talk about the lie that we've all been believing about success. Here's what everyone thinks success looks like. Constant visibility, endless self-promotion, always being on. We've been told that if you're not the loudest in the room, then you're just invisible. That if you're not constantly pushing yourself forward, someone else would take your spot. Sounds familiar? Right, we've all been there. Posting every achievement, ensuring that our feeds and stories are curated, networking until we're exhausted, saying yes to everything because we're tired of missing out. Basically, FOMO. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets interesting. While everyone else was playing that game, Rosé was playing a completely different one. And that different game? It just made her the first ever K-pop artist to win Song of the Year at the VMAs. Let me paint you a picture of what the Blackpink girlies were doing on their individual breaks from the group activities. First, we of course have our it girl Jennie, who I've already done a video on, and a lot of you seem to find it very helpful, and I'm so glad. You can watch it over here if you're interested. Our it girl Jennie, who released her very own album titled Ruby, which garnered amazing success. You ever heard of the song Like Jennie? Exactly. Everyone wants to be Jennie. And of course, she also had a red carpet moments and A-list collaborations and gigs like Gentle Monster and Chanel and Calvin Klein shoots. And also even starting her own agency. We had our queen Lisa, whose songs were always viral on TikTok. So many people attempting to do her crazy dances, recreate her Victoria's Secret moment, and was also even a mentor on a reality show. And just like Jennie, she had started her own label Loud, which I love the name of, by the way. I think it suits her perfectly. We then also have Jisoo, of course, who released her own solo album and who also split her time pursuing her acting projects. And Rosé, while all her Blackpink sisters were dominating headlines, she was quiet. Not invisible, just quiet. There's a massive difference. And understanding this difference is going to change how you think about your own path to success. See, when Blackpink made their debut, K-netizens and the industry insiders literally called Rosé the least biased member. Brutal, right? She was seen as the sweet, soft one. The one who didn't command attention like the others. And you know what most people would do in that situation? They try to be louder, bolder, be like everyone else and blend in with the group. But here's where Rosé did something genius. Instead of fighting against her nature, she weaponized it. She turned being the quiet one into being the mysterious one. She made softness feel exclusive. While everyone else was trying to be the main character, the star of the show, she was perfecting the art of being unforgettable without being overwhelming. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Rosé wasn't recognizable or wasn't idol-worthy at all. These were just what the general consensus were at the time of their debut, all the way up until fairly recent, maybe 2022 or 2023. I myself never really understood why people were comparing the girls and always criticizing Rosé's looks, her voice, her talent. I guess being a celebrity is just brutal, as proven time and time again. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because what Rosé understood, and what most of us miss, is that in a world full of noise, silence becomes powerful. In a culture obsessed with oversharing, mystery becomes magnetic. But how do you actually do this? How do you turn perceived weaknesses into signature strengths? Because it's not just about being quiet. There's a whole psychology behind it that most people miss. Here's something that will probably surprise you. Rosé's breakthrough didn't just happen because she suddenly found herself. It happened because she stopped trying to be what the industry wanted her to be. and started being genuinely, unapologetically herself. Think about her very first solo debut, On the Ground and Gone. These weren't trying to compete with Blackpink's high-energy, girl crush concepts. They were vulnerable, introspective, emotional. And even though K-pop has evolved 180 degrees since its first generation, it still wasn't the norm of what the K-pop industry was known for, nor what they told her she should be. And you know what happened? People connected with her in a way that they never have before. Because finally they weren't seeing Rosé from Blackpink. They were seeing Roseanne Park, the artist. This is what I call the authenticity paradox. The more genuinely yourself you become, the more you stand out in a world full of copycats. But here's the catch. It takes incredible confidence to be that authentic. The kind of confidence where I talked about a few videos back about owning your worth unapologetically, which you can watch here for more details. Now here's where it gets really strategic, and this is something most people completely miss when analyzing successful people. Rosé didn't just work hard, she worked in silence. While performers and celebrities and influencers were ceaselessly announcing their own projects, while everyone else was making noise about their next ventures or their next moves, Rosé disappeared. Radio silence, and everyone started wondering, where is she? What is she doing? She bided her time, slowly but carefully working on her craft. Even as a main vocalist of Blackpink, she was always taking classes behind the scenes, ensuring that her skills were up to par, sharpening her tools such that when the time came for her to use and display them, they were all ready for her at her disposal. Then, boom, Apathy with Bruno Mars. No warning, no build-up, no promotional campaign. Just pure, undeniable quality dropped into the world like it's a gift. That's the value of making incremental progress through hard work. Not just a one-off all-nighter, but dedication spread across a decade of artistic refinement and practice. And this is where most people get it wrong about success. They think success comes overnight. They think that the first step you take will be straight into the spotlight. That you need to document every step, share every win, announce every plan. But Rosé understood her power. She knew that her fans, her haters, and the world was watching her every move with bated breaths. She understood that mystery creates anticipation, and anticipation creates value. And here's what's really fascinating, and this is where it connects to everything that we've been talking about on this channel, about becoming the version of yourself that you're proud of. Rosé's success isn't accidental. It's the result of a very specific mindset that most people will never develop. She understood something that took me years to figure out. That your greatest strengths often lie right next to your perceived weaknesses. That the thing that makes you feel different, uncomfortable, like you don't fit, that might be exactly what makes you irreplaceable. Think about your own life for a second. What's the thing about yourself that you've been trying to change, or hide, or fix? The thing that makes you feel like you're not quite right for the spaces that you want to be in. Because what if, and stay with me here, what if that thing isn't a bug, but a feature? What if it's not something to overcome, but something to lean into? This again connects directly into my confidence video. This idea that true confidence isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of yourself intentionally. Rosé didn't gain confidence by becoming louder or more aggressive. She gained confidence by trusting her softness, her vulnerability, her different approach, which of course had value. And that confidence, it becomes magnetic. Because here's the truth, people can sense confidence from a mile away, or in this case, through a screen. It's not the kind that needs to prove itself constantly. It's the kind that just is. The kind that draws people in because it feels real in a world full of performance. Now I know what you're thinking. This all sounds beautiful and inspiring, but how do you actually do it? How do you identify your own unique strengths? How do you build that quiet confidence? How do you work strategically instead of just working hard? How does this apply to me? Because here's the thing. Rosé didn't accidentally become the first K-pop artist ever to win the VMA Song of the Year. There were specific strategic moves that she made, specific ways she positioned herself, specific approaches to her craft and her brand that you can absolutely learn from and adapt into your own life. And that's exactly what we are going to break down in part 2 of this series. I'm going to walk you through the exact blueprint, not just what Rosé did, but how you can apply these exact principles, whether you're building a business, whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, or just trying to become the most authentic version of yourself. Because here's what I've learned from studying people like Rose. Success isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming so authentically, strategically yourself that you become impossible to ignore and your success inevitable. And in my next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Drop your goal in the comments below because I have a feeling that you're about to achieve it really soon. And if this resonated with you, make sure you're subscribed because part 2 is going to be a game changer. We're diving deep into the practical stuff, the stuff that will actually change how you show up in the world. So until next time, take care of your heart, your mind, and your dreams. I'll see you in the next video very soon.